Guys, honestly, I've always loved old-school beat-em-up games. There's just something so fun about walking through levels, fighting waves of enemies, and enjoying those classic arcade vibes. But what really surprises me is how good some of these games still look, even in 2026. The graphics, the animations, the style, literally everything. So in this video, I'm sharing my personal favorite GOAT list of 15 old-school beat-em-ups that are not just fun to play, but also still look seriously impressive today. If you love classic action games, this list is for you. Let me know your personal favorite one in the comments. Final Fight. When I picture a smoky, crowded arcade vibe, Final Fight is the cabinet I see first. Capcom dropped this in 1989 on CPS-1 hardware, and it pretty much became the template for the modern side-scrolling beat-em-up. You've got Mike Hagar, Cody, and Guy cleaning up Metro City after Mad Gear kidnaps Hagar's daughter, and every punch, pile driver, and spinning lariat just feels heavy. The gameplay is simple, but that's the charm. Big mobs, meaty grabs, and crowd control specials that save you when the screen fills up. Graphically, it still slaps, with huge sprites, detailed back alleys, subways, and speedy night spots that scream late 80s urban chaos. In 2026, you can easily play the arcade version through Capcom Arcade Stadium on Switch and Xbox. Streets of Rage 2. I swear, every time that opening track hits in Streets of Rage 2, I get goosebumps like it's the first time. Released in 1992 for the Sega Mega Drive, Sega took the original game and just refined everything. Combat, visuals, pacing, all of it. You pick from Axel, Blaze, Max, or Skate and march through neon streets, theme parks, and neon-drenched clubs to take down Mr. X again. The fighting feels incredibly tight even today. Clean hitboxes, satisfying juggles, grabs, running attacks, and those character-specific specials that give each fighter their own rhythm. Visually, it's a 16-bit showcase with colorful backdrops and expressive enemy animations that never really get old. Fans constantly call this one of the greatest beat-em-ups ever made, and honestly, I'm not arguing. If you want a game that just feels right the second you press start, this is your must-play. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Okay, so tell me this premise doesn't sound like pure chaos in the best way. You're cruising around in giant cars, punching bad guys, and dodging angry dinosaurs in a ruined future. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is a 1993 Capcom arcade beat-em-up based on the comic and cartoon, and it oozes that Saturday morning show energy mixed with arcade grit. You pick from Jack, Hannah, Mustafa, or Mess, and fight through jungles, deserts, labs, and city ruins where poachers and black marketeers are messing with nature. The combat hits hard and fast, with plenty of melee weapons, guns, explosives, and even sections where you hop into a Cadillac and turn the game into a destruction derby. The art is stunning for its time. Bold colors, smooth animations, and dinosaurs that still look intimidating. It's criminally underrated because it never got an official home port back in the 90s. Sengoku. Sengoku is one of those games that instantly feels different the second you start playing. Released by SNK in 1991 for Neo Geo arcades and later Neo Geo home systems, it mixes side-scrolling brawling with this eerie, supernatural samurai vibe. You're basically fighting a demon army invading modern-day Japan, and the cool twist is that you can transform into different warrior spirits mid-fight. 1 second you're a swordsman, then a wolf-like ninja, then an armored samurai, each with their own range and attack style. The gameplay can feel a bit stiff compared to later beat-em-ups, but that's also part of its charm. It's more methodical, almost like a brawler with a hint of old arcade platformer DNA. Visually, it stands out with its surreal backgrounds, undead enemies, and color palette that feels like a fever dream version of feudal Japan. These days, I think it's underrated, but mostly overshadowed by flashier Neo Geo fighters. Captain Commando. Captain Commando is the game I show people when I want them to understand how gloriously unhinged 90s arcade could be. You're literally a futuristic superhero leading a squad that includes a ninja, a mummy, and a baby piloting a mech. Every stage feels like a comic book come to life. Arcades, labs, highways, alien-infested streets, and there's always something either exploding or mutating on screen. The gameplay is classic Capcom. Fast walking, meaty punches, big throws, tons of weapons, and those rideable robots that make you feel completely overpowered for a few precious seconds. The art style is loud and colorful, with chunky sprites that still look great in motion. It never got as big as Final Fight, so it flies under the radar for a lot of people. But it absolutely deserves a GOAT mention.
X-Men.
X-Men. This game is the one that instantly turns into a shouting match when you've got a group full of people playing. You pick from Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, or Dazzler, and just sprint through Sentinels, robots, and classic villains on your way to Magneto. It's not trying to be a super deep combat system. It's all about big specials, screen-filling effects, and that chaotic co-op energy. The huge sprites and bold comic book colors make it feel like an episode of the early 90s cartoon you can actually punch your way through. As a single-player game, it's decent, but with friends, it becomes something else entirely. A lot of people remember it fondly from childhood, but it's surprisingly hard to access now, which is why it's kind of underplayed these days. But it's still one of the best pack the couch and mash buttons experiences you can have in 2026. Dungeons & Dragons: Shadow over Mystara. Shadow over Mystara is the beat-em-up that I go to when I want more than just walking right and pressing punch. Here, you're picking classic fantasy classes: fighter, cleric, elf, dwarf, and more, and each one has its own stats, spells, combos, and gear. Instead of a straight line of levels, you get branching paths, secret routes, shops, loot, and little story choices that give it a tabletop RPG flavor. The combat feels great on a basic level, but the real magic is in learning spells, using items smartly, and replaying stages with different builds. Visually, it's gorgeous. Detailed medieval towns, caves, forests, and big boss monsters with lots of animation. If you love both old-school brawlers and RPGs, this is the one you sink hours into in 2026. Alien vs. Predator. The moment you see a Predator teaming up with human soldiers to wreck xenomorphs, you know this arcade classic means business. Released by Capcom in 1994, Alien vs. Predator throws you into a non-stop sci-fi war zone where every punch, blast, and slash feels brutal. You can play as two different Predators or as cyborg soldiers, each with their own speed, range, and weapons, which makes co-op runs feel fresh every time. The combat is faster and flashier than a lot of older beat-em-ups, with guns, combos, air attacks, and screen-clearing moves that never get old. Visually, it's incredible for its era. Detailed sprites, slimy alien hives, military bases, and explosions everywhere. If you want something that looks amazing and plays like a sci-fi action movie, this is a bucket list beat-em-up. Battle Circuit. Sometimes I just want to beat 'em up that's completely unhinged, and Battle Circuit is exactly that kind of chaos. This late-era Capcom arcade game from 1997 feels like a Saturday morning anime about bounty hunters that somehow escaped onto a PCB. You choose from a bizarre cast, like a stretchy superhero, a pink-haired hacker, a plant beast, and a kick-happy alien, and chase criminals through neon cities and bizarre sci-fi stages. The gameplay is packed with depth, special moves, upgradable abilities, team attacks, and goofy super moves that keep combat from ever feeling repetitive. For a 2D game, the animations and color work are insane, full of personality and energy. It's seriously underrated, mostly because it arrived right when 3D was taking over arcades, so a lot of people never even saw the cabinet.
Play your player!
The Punisher. The Punisher was developed by Capcom in 1993, and it lets you play as Frank Castle or team up with Nick Fury as you bulldoze through criminals on your way to Kingpin. What makes the gameplay so satisfying is the blend of melee and gunplay. You're punching dudes 1 second and unloading an Uzi the next, all in one smooth flow. There are tons of weapons lying around, environmental interactions, and big, chunky hits that make every combo feel nasty in the best way. The visuals absolutely nail that grimy Marvel street-level vibe. Busted streets, criminal hideouts, and stylish comic-style explosions and effects. If you like your beat-em-ups darker, punchier, and dripping with comic book attitude, this one is still incredibly fun to fire up. Violent Storm. What I love about Violent Storm is how wild and colorful it feels, even though it's set in a rough, post-apocalyptic world. You're part of a trio trying to protect what's left of civilization from a nasty gang, and every stage feels busy and full of life. The combat is super punchy. Big throws, satisfying crowd control, and enemies flying all over the screen when you land a good combo. It never takes itself too seriously either. There's a playful, almost cartoon energy to the animations and character designs. The graphics are a big part of the appeal, with bright colors and detailed backgrounds that still stand out today. People don't talk about this one as much as the usual big names, which is why it feels like a hidden treasure when you finally try it. If you enjoy high energy, over-the-top beat-em-ups that look and sound loud in the best way, Violent Storm is an amazing ride. Vendetta. This one hits like a gritty street brawler straight out of an old action movie. Vendetta throws you into gang-infested alleys, docks, and bars as you and your crew fight to rescue a kidnapped friend. The gameplay is straightforward but very satisfying. Strong punches, grabs, and the kind of rough animations that make every hit feel personal. There's a real sense of impact when you slam enemies into the ground or clear a group with a well-timed move. The visuals lean into that dirty, urban style. Graffiti, broken windows, and shady-looking enemies everywhere. It's not as famous as some of the big brand titles, which makes it easy to overlook. But that's exactly why it feels special when you discover it. If you're into no-nonsense, street-level beat-em-ups with attitude and old-school charm, Vendetta deserves a try. Knights of the Round. What I really like about Knights of the Round is how it turns the classic arcade beat-em-up into a full medieval adventure. Released in 1991 by Capcom, it's loosely based on the Arthurian legend, so you're playing as Arthur, Lancelot, or Percival instead of the usual street brawlers. As you fight your way through castles, forests, and war-torn villages, you actually level up, and your armor and weapons change visually, which gives the game a light RPG feel without making things too complicated. The combat is a bit heavier and slower than some other games, with blocking and careful timing mattering more, so each hit feels strong. The pixel art is gorgeous for its time. Shiny armor, huge bosses, and dramatic medieval backdrops that still look great. If you love swords, knights, and that heroic cut through an army feeling, this one is absolutely worth playing in 2026. Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder. This one feels like Golden Axe finally becoming the big fantasy epic it always wanted to be. Released in 1992 by Sega, The Revenge of Death Adder is a direct arcade sequel that introduces new heroes, new routes, and much richer visuals. Instead of just marching in a straight line, you sometimes choose different paths, which makes replays more interesting. Combat keeps that classic mix of melee attacks and powerful magic, but now you've got more variety in moves and some really fun rideable creatures and siege machines. The graphics are stunning for the early 90s. Huge sprites, colorful forests, deserts, and ruined temples, all packed with detail. It's often called one of the best-looking 2D beat-em-ups of its era. Warriors of Fate. Warriors of Fate is the kind of game that makes you feel like you've been dropped into the middle of a huge historical war. Developed by Capcom and released in 1992, it's based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era, so you're playing with larger-than-life generals cutting through armies. You choose from several different warriors, each with their own weapon type and reach, and fight across villages, forts, and battlefields filled with enemy soldiers. The gameplay is classic side-scrolling brawling, but the horse combat, big throws, and sweeping attacks give it a really powerful sense of impact. Visually, it's packed with atmosphere. Banners waving, buildings burning, and crowded screens full of enemies that make every stage feel like a part of a massive campaign. It's respected by fans of the genre, but still doesn't get mentioned as often as some other Capcom titles. If you want a beat-em-up that mixes simple controls with a big, dramatic historical setting, Warriors of Fate is a perfect blend of all of these things. And that's it for today's video. If you found even one new beat-em-up to try, then this list was worth it. Tell me in the comments which game you're going to play first, or which one should I add next time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss future uploads. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.